Hey everyone, you probably interact with this thing dozens of times a day, maybe without even realizing it. It's kind of like the hidden engine of our entire modern world. We're talking about Linux, and today we're going to break it all down. By the end of this, you're not just going to know what it is, you'll see how you can actually start using it yourself. So think about this for a second. What's the secret sauce behind the huge servers at places like Google and Amazon? Or, what's running your smart TV at home, your internet router, heck, even the International Space Station? Yeah, it's all powered by the same hidden engine. Yup, you got it, it's Linux. And our goal today is to totally demystify this thing. We're going to cover what it is, why on earth there are so many different flavors of it, and most importantly, how you can actually get it up and running for yourself. Okay, so how in the world did one single operating system get so, dominant? To really get it, we've got to rewind a bit, go back to the very beginning, and check out the one big idea that made Linux the everywhere OS it is today. So the story kind of starts way back in 1969 with its predecessor, this big commercial OS called Unix. But the real magic happens in 1991. A student in Finland, Linus Torvalds, just decides, you know what, I'm going to build my own free version. And just a year later, he makes this absolutely game-changing decision. He releases it under something called the GNO General Public License, or GPL. Now, this sounds like some technical jargon, but it was so much more than that. It was a promise that Linux would always be free for anyone to use, to change, and to share. And that right there is what sparked a global movement. Suddenly, developers from all over the world could build on it together. Okay, let's talk about the part that trips up pretty much everyone at first. You hear Linux, and then bam, you're hit with all these names. Ubuntu, Fedora, Debian. It's like, what's the deal with all these? So let's break down exactly what a distro is. Right at the core of everything, and I mean everything, is the Linux kernel. This is the original masterpiece that Linus Torvalds built. Think of it like a translator. Its entire job is to let your software talk to your physical computer parts. The processor, the memory, all that stuff. And here's the key. Every single flavor of Linux you've ever heard of is built around this exact same core kernel. So if that's the kernel, then what's a distro? Well, the distro, short for distribution, is the whole package. It's what you actually use. It takes that powerful kernel and bundles it with everything else you need to have a complete operating system. The desktop you see, all the system tools, and of course, apps like a web browser. Honestly, the absolute best way to think about this is the engine versus car analogy. The Linux kernel, that's the engine. Super powerful, right? But an engine by itself isn't going to get you to the grocery store. A distro, then, is the complete car built around that engine. So Ubuntu, Fedora, Mint, they're like different models. One's a race car, one's a family SUV, another's a reliable sedan. They're all designed for totally different things. But deep down, under the hood, they're all powered by that same powerful Linux engine. Okay, so if these distros are all just different cars, how do you possibly pick the right one for you? Well, it actually boils down to one really simple question. And that question is this. What's the main job you have in mind for your computer? I mean, are you trying to run a website that has to be online no matter what, 24/7? Or are you just looking for something to check your email and browse the web on your laptop? Just answering that one question will point you in the right direction. And that leads us to the first big fork in the road, server versus desktop. Server distros, think something like CentOS, are built to be super lean, mean, and efficient. A lot of the time, they don't even have a graphical interface, no windows or icons. Why? Because every last bit of power is focused on performance and security. On the flip side, you have desktop distros, like Ubuntu Desktop. These are the total opposite. They're designed for you and me, with beautiful, polished interfaces and all the apps you'd expect ready to go right out of the box. All right, your next choice is really more about philosophy. It's a trade-off. Do you want the absolute latest, greatest, shiniest new features? Or do you just want something that is rock-solid stable? So cutting-edge distros like Fedora will give you the newest software the second it's available. It's exciting. But for a super important server or maybe your work computer where things just have to work, no excuses, well, that's when you'll want a rock-solid distro like Debian or an Ubuntu LTS version. And that LTS stands for long-term support, which tells you everything you need to know. Okay, enough theory. Let's make this real. Let's see how all this plays out in the wild. Let's put all the pieces together with a few examples. Say you're a developer setting up a workstation. You'd probably go for Ubuntu Desktop LTS. Why? It's super stable and the amount of software you can get for it is just massive.
Okay, what about a secure web server for a big company? You'd want something really minimal and secure, like CentOS. Now, for a personal blog server, Ubuntu Server is a fantastic choice. It's powerful, secure, but still pretty easy to manage. And what about that home media server you want to stick in a closet and just forget about? You want that set it and forget it reliability. That's a perfect job for Debian. See? It's all about picking the right tool for the job.
So, feeling ready to give it a try? I know. The phrase installing an operating system sounds intimidating. But honestly, these days it's way easier than you think. Let's walk through how you'd get started. Okay, the traditional way to install it is really just 3 simple steps. First, you go to the distro's website and download one file. It's called an ISO image, which is basically the digital blueprint for the whole OS. Step 2, you use a simple free tool to write that blueprint onto a regular old USB drive. And finally, you just restart your computer, tell it to boot from that USB drive, and an on-screen wizard walks you through the rest. It's seriously as easy as installing any other piece of software. But wait, here's the best part. You absolutely do not have to wipe out your current computer to try Linux. Not at all. One way is to use something called a virtual machine. It's literally an app that lets you run Linux in a window right on top of your Windows or Mac OS desktop. It's like a computer inside your computer. And even cooler, if you're on a modern version of Windows, you can use the Windows Subsystem for Linux, or WSL. You just grab it from the Microsoft Store, and boom, you have a real, genuine Linux command line running right inside Windows. It's the perfect, totally safe way to just start playing around.
And that, in a nutshell, is Linux. It's this entire world of choice and power. From running a tiny computer in your house to powering the world's biggest supercomputers, it's all built on this amazing foundation of freedom and working together. It puts a staggering amount of power right at your fingertips, and it's all for free. So really, the only question left for you is, what would you build with it?